So I think a really important thing to talk about here is we often have these scenarios, and I think yesterday the perfect play out of that. We often have these scenarios and they often miss as well. But we often have these scenarios where you see there's a level combined with a trend, and we're always making these scenarios up when we're trading, saying, okay, well, like the perfect moment is when you can go and then you can come down and you can fail, and then you just float above trend a little bit, and then you go down and you hit this and you climb above trend. Like we always kind of create these scenarios. It's a very common thing we do when we're trading. We just find like the perfect trend with the deepest level that can coordinate the perfect touch. And how often does it happen? Like it happens for sure, but usually typically we're left with like, okay, well, there's like a 15-minute level here, so if it comes all the way out to here and then drops like this, then that's the right level, because this one would be too deep and it's impossible to climb back up over trend. And and then there's like maybe also an hourly level here. It's like, oh, we could back test that, and on top of that, you've got a hold here, so you can RA the difference between these two levels, and it's only 8%. So like a perfect scenario is if you now all of a sudden drop to about here, do you go for trend, do you go for this level, do you go for this level? And then we start measuring RA. We're sitting here saying like, okay, well, you got 26%, and how do you reduce that and diminish it? And then there's this break level here, so maybe you want to ladder that break level, so you take this, and then you're fully expecting it to kind of do something like this, bounces up, back test that, still there, creates a local trend. That trend has to hold, it doesn't, but then it ladders again, and then you break your move up. Like we always create these scenarios, right? Like this is so common as to everything we always do. And then so yesterday was nice to see it play out like that, because this was the greediest level that we defined on our session. This was the greediest level. It coordinates with a trend, and then if you look, it actually just drops fast enough. So like that's the difference here. That's the difference, is that you're sitting here and you're put to a moment in time where you can't really continue. Like if you were to from here hit this level here, continue to ladder, come up to here, maybe hit a break level here, you create some kind of trend, you test this trend, you end up breaking it. Like you can no longer hit this level. Actually, I'm pretty sure from about here on, it becomes unrealistic. I'd have to measure the percentages. Not that there's like a static percentage Q, but like 30% is too far away. You're talking about a different part of the move. So then yesterday, like, when we build these scenarios, yesterday was a perfect example, because this is something that had dropped so fast that this actually becomes the perfect trade. So, if you were watching these charts and everything was going good, um, you have this test of this level here, and all of a sudden it looks like it's going to hold, and you're just sitting there like a little disappointed, because you're like, wow, for Jesus, man, I guess this is never going to get hit. Sucks. All of a sudden you're holding this level, and then even then it's like, okay, well, we have, some kind of like 15-minute level here that's already tested, so that's fine. So this is like a 15-minute origin, and best case scenario, now you're like, this 5 minutes holding, that sucks. So now you're either hoping that your next scenario becomes this level here, like right on top of there, or that you go like this somehow, bounce that, and then something like that. But when you start dropping fast like that, it just kind of opens that possibility. Like that 5 minute didn't hold, all of a sudden you're left with a 15-minute. Like in this 15-minute hold, right? Oh, come on. Like, can this 15-minute hold? No, it just drops straight to the 5, right? Like this is the perfect scenario for that. This is the picturesque scenario that we always create. But I we say picturesque as if it's never happening. This is happening all the time. It's constantly happening. The difference is your ability to read this part of the chart to understand if it's that 15-minute level, if it's going to be this 5-minute level that's going to do that, if it's going to be like an origin right here. Well, it likely wouldn't be that. Let's use a different, maybe it's going to be a range trend right here that breaks, and then you go to say some kind of break level here that was created. Like there's going to be all these different scenarios. And so like we say, oh, it happened in the moment, and we always create these as if it never happens, but it always happens. But the definition of when it's happening exists in here. So the definement of can it happen, yes or no, that happens here, right? So that's important to realize, that is a perfect moment to buy this 5-minute level because of the events that happened. And then we already had this level picked out, which is perfect, because we already said this is going to be the level that pulls it back, and we found it pretty easily and early on. And it was quite simple to see that you've got a trend, you've got your 4-hour level, which has been tested, you've created a ladder point here, you've created a ladder point here, you've created a third ladder point here. So the only real spot that this could even ladder from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is this level. So then you get like picture perfect trades, right? Like we discussed this yesterday, and you get picture perfect trades. It goes up, it hits trend, it follows trend. The next thing you'd want to see it do is you'd want to see it break local polarity. And so local polarity would be something like, this is hit there, and that's fine. And then so you get into a back test of this, which is hit, that level's hit. So then you get into stuff like, okay, well, now you're gonna have like break levels here, and those don't exist. So then you can go into like a smaller time frame and say like, okay, well, no, you don't have a break level there, but you have this here. Let's see, what else do you have? Something like this. I don't love it. You've got this. Oh yeah, you've got one right here. This is a little better. And so yeah, like your trend follows, your level gets filled. Pretty picturesque so far. And then all you need to do is, break polarity to reach your final target. And I'm sure you do. And I'm sure you've got some kind of trail that's going from here, here to backside here. And this backside is holding it. Or is it an origin here? Or it's a whole level here? It's all the same, right? It's just like the local piece of the move. Get above that, you get straight to your target, right? Like, so this, we scribed all of this out yesterday. So this 5 minute to here happens perfectly without any falter. And then we're still in the same moment. So that's like our first trade is locked up in profits. That's good. It's like a solid 160% or something. 160%. First trade's locked up in profits. Good. You're now in a short. And the simple thing is if you break trend, we had our target below, which was this. Like we didn't have any other targets. Well, we had a lower one here, but it's a part of a different range. So realize this target is this range. This target is this range. And you can go a little deeper too, but not really the point. If you're in a short from this, which it should have been, like really that trend is the ability to keep or not keep this level. And when you lose that trend there, and you're even, doesn't matter how far you go above it. Like when you lose that trend, the move's kind of over. So you lose this trend, right? You have that final 5 minute level there. You probably don't hold it. And you probably just sink straight to your target, which is exactly what happened, right? Because this is like, excuse me. I think through these sessions, what everybody is seeing here is how critical it is to start defining those polarized moments, because like we are seeing them happen perfectly. We had our trend, like if we just even back this up a bit and get our, well, you know what we can do? We can actually just redraw the trend instead of wasting time here doing it like this. I believe it was this one. I believe it was that one. It's not that one. Where was it? Where's that range trend? Yeah, it is. I think I just misclicked. So you've got this here. That's fine. But it was actually the hourly trend. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I just misclicked. Make this blue. Also, I didn't change the color. That affects everything. I'm just kidding, obviously. But yeah, I think that's really what we're seeing is at a higher level, how we can start to define polarity, because really this was pretty picturesque from yesterday, and it all had to do with a trend. It all had to do with the deepest level that can be tested based on the logic flow that we created. So you can always go back and watch that video to see that logic flow that we created. And then when you lose that trend, there's really nothing else that you have to like kind of consider in this trade. And even our target up top of this 5 minute origin, finding that so quickly, because again, it's kind of the only ladder point that makes sense. And it just really reinforces how critical finding these polarized moments are, because it really allows you to make a decision without trying to worry about all these other time frames, right? It really allows you to kind of lean on the fact that your ability to see polarity also is your ability to see like this is where the perfect trades exist. Because if you were to boil everything down to where can you just constantly make the highest quality decisions, well, if possible, it would always just be on moments of polarity, because you have a 50-50 chance. And I'm just using simple dumb math. Like this is not a 50-50 chance, but let's just say it was like up or down. So there's two outcomes. Therefore, I'm just going to say 50-50. Go up or down, you have a 50-50 chance of being right. And on the side that you're wrong on polarity, we have things like stop losses. We have things like we can only lose so much money. Like even if we were to get fully liquidated, say we had $500 on the trade, or even 5,000, we get fully liquidated, we lose exactly one position. Now you should never get fully liquidated, but in a worst case scenario, doomsday scenario, you get fully liquidated, you lose one position. And so that's like, oh, that sucks. Have that happen a second time, statistically speaking, if your odds are 50-50 because it's up or down, have that happen the second time. What's your profit on the second time? Because you're capped on the loss side to the full value of one. On this side, you have three positions that you made. So even if you're 50 to 50-50 and you played every single position of polarity, whether it be longing or shorting that, even just with simple math that doesn't really connect through to the science, but at least has a foundation of simplicity behind it between yes or no, there's a cap loss on what happens on the negative side of the trade, which is a value loss of 1/1. So a 1-to-1 ratio loss, as to where on the positive side of that 50-50, in our case, it was a 3-to-1. It's not always a 3-to-1, but polarity typically represents those larger moves. So this just really reinforces everything we've been talking about these past 2 days and hitting these targets perfectly. Like, you can replay this and it's almost, we were here yesterday. This was our perfect long hits. This is our target up top. Accuracy is so pinpoint, it's not even funny. Wait for this to just touch this level. Give it a second here. It hits a level. Perfect. Profits taken. Next trade is executed. We have our polarized moment, which is a trend. Trend gets lost. Go up a little bit. That's fine. We're not worried about that. The same level that's hit gets hit, and we drop right to our moment. So like this, again, this reinforces that value in polarity when we can start to see where these moments exist. And this is really what we're trying to do, is by going over how we can create this trend accuracy yesterday and the rules as to why it can create, right? The rules as to why this can exist, right? And this 15-minute level here being a possible target for the future. I don't know why I have this one dotted. I don't think this should be dotted unless there's a reason it is dotted, but I don't think there is. I don't think that's anything hidden inside of. That's an hourly level. Wait, maybe I think I maybe just used a level that wasn't the right color. I probably just was already on the 15-minute dotted level and just put that there. So it shouldn't be a 15-minute dotted level, I don't think. No, it should just be an hourly level, like an hourly hold, which is fine. That's an hourly hold. But you see what I mean about like by finding this accuracy, it allowed us to create this trade scenario. So I really think that's where a lot of value lies when you start to get further and further into understanding these sciences. Like finding those polarized moments is pretty powerful. And so we now start to work on techniques where we can see how we can refine these moments on the chart where we can get bigger accuracy. And like, look, if you took a long here, if you just took the couple trades that we scoped out, you'd be 500% up. You'd be 160 here and you'd be shorted to here at 329, and then you'd be longed to here already for another 55, 60. And who knows where this is going from here, right? And that now you can make your trend work complete, and you can do all the different fabrication you need to find the correct levels and move forward with what is next in these trades, right? So I think that's very valuable. It's very valuable to see that. So it's nice to have that moment played out. And I think going forward, what I would like people to do is I want them. We've been doing this a lot in mentorship, like, and I'm going to go back to this moment here. And so we have been doing this quite often in these sessions where we are scoping out these perfect scenarios. And so like, let's just re-add them to where we had the effect of them yesterday. You got a 15-minute level here, right? So you've got that 15-minute level here. And so what we can do is we can just color these all properly so we're just on the same page. And I don't really want to include this one. Just, pardon me, excuse me. Still getting over my cold. I don't really want to include that one. And this is actually an hourly level here. So no, I'm going to take some more medicine here. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. And so I have an hourly level here. We have a 15 here. Do we have any other kind of like levels that we could indulge in? So we could do like a combo here. So then we could go like an hourly. We can just see if it starts to connect through on the 15. This is never ever going to be a dotted line. You can combo that, which would be here down to this 15-minute here. And then you kind of have to go through the next piece and say, where's the 5-minute level on that? And then you're left with something like, as a minimum backside, we can do that. That's tested. So I'll probably just use this instead. And so at least you have some kind of combination level. I think anything beyond that, even without going into timeframes, we can simply measure to here. There's only 8% left anyways. There's no point in comboing down any further. So then, as you go here and you let this play out, you have all these scenarios, and this is where the value comes. You have all these scenarios and you're looking at your trend. So if your trend is correct, you're just simply buying the level closest to the trend touch. Like there's not like, that's just it. You want to touch trend to verify that the range is holding and that you're going to be continuing moving up. So all you're doing now is waiting to see how long you go this way for before you go down. Because if you go down right away, you're going down to this level. If you wait a little longer, you're going down to this level. If you wait a little longer, you're going to this level. Wait a little longer, you're going to this level maybe. Or if you wait even longer, you're going to this level. And these ones can also be moved. Like you can go like this and you can go like this, but it's just the ability is that's what's happening. If you wait even longer, you go to here. So this is really about just understanding like how this fans out from side to side. And then this is the scenarios we always create though. Like, where's trend? How do we coordinate the test of that? How do we RA that? And that becomes a very simple process. So like, when actually, we can leave that and just, how fast does this go down? And that, how fast does this go down? As long as we have the right trend here and we have our levels marked out properly, like and we knew there was a 5-minute trail. So we're already kind of weighted a little bit and inclined more towards this 5-minute level. Like, we're already there. Oopsies. No, don't play. We're just going to go back a little bit here. And then so as time is going on, you're just like, well, how fast is this thing moving down? And we can actually just move this one a little bit to the right so we can see the candles. And so right now, you really should have just had an order set right here. There should, like, none of these should have an order on them. I don't see why when trend is there, And then so you're sitting here and it's still like, I don't see why you'd ever have an order on anything else yet. Maybe once you get out to like this. So maybe once you start getting to, I'll give it a fair range of here. I'll give it a little bit before and a little bit after. When you get out, if this goes sideways and gets into this green box, that's fine. Before that, you're, I would say like about here. Yeah, I would say about here to here. And we'll just go same height. Um, if you're in this box, like, your order should be here. If you're in this box, your order should be here. If you're in the next box over, if time has continued to move sideways, and you're in the next box over, you should be somewhere like this, because all you're really doing is coordinating the trend touch with the actual level, and it becomes a very simple and easy thing. So just like, which box are you in? That's so you have one order, and what I'll do for this is I'll make an order. I'll make this one. Let's go with like a weird off blue color that we never do, and let's go like like a little bit more thicker. Let's do something even like, oh, this is a good one. We never use this kind of color. That's fine. It's kind of like a pink. So like, your order should just be set here now, just due to where this box is. That's it. That's it. Your order should just be here. Like, you should be sitting for an order waiting here. And if we enter this next green box, you should just move your order to here, and then to here, and then to here, and then to here. Right. So like, we always create these scenarios where we're trying to like create the perfect scenario, but they happen often. It's just, I think what happens is a lot of people, they just tunnel vision, they see this, and then they forget that there's other targets that moves as time goes on, and they're just waiting for still to get the quote unquote best price. But the best price is not going to be the lowest price. The best price is going to be what level can hit versus what makes sense. So then we're in this box. So right now, like, we simply shouldn't be in any trades. We should be waiting patiently down here. And if it doesn't hit, then reverse something in the future, then catch the next trade, right? And then quite simply, it hits and bounces, and that's it. And the trade is over. And then it reverses the next level. And I don't even think you're in a question of, is this reversing? Maybe here, maybe in this box, you could be reversing. Yeah, I think you can. I think that's fine. I was going to say, maybe you have to just play it as a hold level, but I think it's still fine to reverse there. And let's just take these off, and so like, fine, you're still above trend. Can you hit this? Yeah, I think you can extend this box a little bit. That's fine. And you get in the next box, and that's your next trade, right? So like, there is quite a nice simplicity behind this. And then we get right to the target that we defined. And one of the reasons why I instantly picked this target was +1, -1 to this, because if this hits and holds, it's going to break down. And then, you could do the same thing with these, like this idea of boxes on the top side. It's really a visual aid and not really any kind of technical value, but as a visual aid, it's fine. You can do it. And really, hourly +1, -1 to the 15, it also completes the ladder point. Like, it's another perfect scenario that we created. This was the perfect scenario down here, but realize that perfect scenario is malleable. It moves. This could have been the perfect scenario. This could have been the perfect scenario. It's just about how much sideways movement. It's just time controls that perfect scenario. So you go 5 minutes here, you hit the bigger target above, which is the 15. And because you hit the hourly with the 5, it already makes it so that the 15 is going to fail the move. So this is a perfect scenario where we should have taken a short. And so what happens? A short exists. We lose our trend, right? And then we had our next level that we predefined, and there it is. It got hit right there. Perfect. And we have completed like this kind of scenario. But this is something that in the previous months I had been always creating, like, okay, well, where do these perfect trades exist? What does that look like? So this is like a really good example of that. And tying back to yesterday's lesson with the understanding of why can we use this trend? Because realize if we didn't have this, none of these are perfect scenarios. Now, do you see how just by me removing that trend, do you see how this loses a lot of clarity in quote unquote, what's the perfect target? Can this succeed or not? Look at how much clarity it loses by deleting that one level. That's the power of that trend. That's the power of that accuracy on the charts. When you have that, look at the clarity it gives you now. Look at the clarity to say, I'm safe. I can validate this trade, because let me show you something. You take this away, you might as well take these away, because now there's no, because you have to, because there's no restraint against time. Because now what you've done is you've taken the restraint of moving this way off. You put that there, you put this here. This makes sense. Remove this, these don't make sense. Now you're kind of sitting there like, oh, what do I do? There's just levels now, right? Because why? If in a moment where there's no trend, why do you need these time defined boxes? So why do we need to define? And that's the real question. Why do we need to define why time is important? Well, I'm going to show you why exactly right now. That's why, because you have a trend there. Trend can't break. If trend breaks, range breaks. So that definement of time, as long as it's accurate, will give you exactly that. Take this away, you remove the definement of time. So this is something that's so valuable at a core fundamental level, understanding the science at a higher level, understanding the science as a bigger piece of what we do, understanding where we can get that accuracy. Understand that trend is that definement of time. Time doesn't exist if we don't have a trend. It's just levels. It's just levels in greed and RA. It's just +1, -1. Add this one simple piece back. Time now exists. Time makes sense. This is the value of trends. And this is the value of having accurate range trends, accurate real trends, and then starting to do things like this yesterday. Because remember, none of this would have been possible had we not went back to yesterday's session and we go back to that moment and say, why can this trend exist? So now we get even to a further stripped down piece. Why can time exist? Well, time in this scenario existed because a rule was complete. And instead of it being a 4-hour trend, what does that look like? Does time have definement if we just repin these on the 4? Let's see. Did I even pin that properly? Maybe it's because I didn't change the color. Let me see. Hold on. Pin that there. Pin this here. Oopsies. Change that to 4. Go back here. Right? Time now doesn't make sense. Even though our rules say use the biggest time frame. There is also what we did yesterday, which is the biggest time frame sometimes isn't the correct trend. Now all of a sudden, these don't matter. And so what would you have been left with if time, right? If you don't have that definement, that rule set of time, how can time exist, right? If you don't have that, well, all of a sudden, none of this makes sense. None of that makes sense. You're just picking a level. You're just simply picking a level. You have no clarity on this trade. Rewind this back, have the correct trend. All of a sudden, the definement of time allows you to take the correct trade. So this is critical to understand that time exists because of trends. It doesn't, well, that's not true. I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase that. Time doesn't exist because of trends. The value of a trade gets defined based on time, because that's why this is like this. And then we hit a perfect target up top. We go down, we hit a perfect target on the bottom. And now we're sitting here and it's like, wow, look at that. We were able to like basically read the future, right?